Hi and welcome back. So today we're talking about training routines. Notice how I'm not saying training programs because as you are aware, if you saw my previous video, is that I think training programs are very overrated for the average person, for the general population. So I'd like to talk about training routines. As we all have a lot going on, a training program can become impossible to adhere by. That's why I promote hybrid training as well as instinctive training, which is what I'm going to talk about later. So when you schedule your time, your life, your day, you have to make choices, right? So everything demands time, energy, and other resources. So something has to give. You can't really have it all. Since we all have to balance our days and our time, when you want to strictly adhere or stick to a training program, something else will suffer in your life. I like to refer to the 4-burner theory. So the 4-burner theory represents your life with 4 burners. One is family, one is friends, one is health, and one is career. And you can never have it all. In order to be successful, you have to turn off one burner. You can't possibly focus on all 4 optimally. In order to be really successful, you have to turn off 2 burners. You can't master it all and you have to make choices. Thankfully, there's a few things you can do. You can get help to cover some aspects, or you can embrace limitations and set the right expectations, or you can work in cycles in which you focus on different things depending on the cycle. Another take or an additional theory of the 4-burner theory is the 5th burner. The 5th burner basically is a central burner which controls the other burners and makes sure the gas flows more evenly to the 4 other burners. So basically the 5th burner is purpose. So when you have purpose in life and you set the right expectations for all categories, all 4 burners, there'll be less friction and there'll be more direction in your life. The 5th burner sets better expectations and improves communication between the other categories. With better purpose and direction, you're able to fit every category within your life within a set expectation due to that 5th burner. So even though you have purpose and you set the right goals and expectations, adhering to a strict, relentless training program may take too much and might make you and other categories in your life suffer. Some people are quite successful at it or make it seem like it, but it takes a lot and it's extremely hard to accomplish. So what's the solution to this problem? In my opinion, it's finding balance, it's finding purpose in everything you do, and it's finding joy in your workouts and your lifestyle. Okay, that involves your nutrition, your recovery, your activities. Find joy in them. That's why I'm a big fan of hybrid training, because I personally find a lot of joy in it, and I know a lot of my previous clients did as well. However, as I said before, I'm a big fan of consistency. That is key to long-term health and fitness and many more things. Now I'm also a big fan, in combination with hybrid training, of instinctive training. Life itself will often dictate when you have more time or you can't train enough. I think about work, illnesses, activities, other factors, other conditions. Many of the accepted norms of how to train to achieve a given result are far more limited, rigid, and restrictive than they need to be. In resistance training, there are many methods and a virtually unlimited number of exercises that are effective. When you get to know your body, gain some experience, and listen to how your body feels and reacts, you'll be able to make better decisions in the moment, regardless of what a program says. So what does instinctive training mean? It means that you direct your training goal and intensity to what your body is telling you. Please know, I'm not telling you to do it based on how you feel in the moment. There's a mental aspect in that, and too many people simply don't train hard enough or come up with too many excuses. If you feel sorry for yourself in training, in physical challenges, you'll never reach a substantial athletic performance level. Instinctive training is also about learning what your body is telling you, processing the data your body is giving to you and adjusting the training accordingly. If one day you need to take it easier or take a day off, or you change your training goal of that day, you swap out exercises, or instead of the gym you go to the track. That's okay, because if that's what your body needs in the moment, and it's all part of a grander scheme of instinctive training and hybrid training and becoming a well-rounded athlete, there's nothing wrong with that. This might just be what you need in order to continue having fun, continue making progress, preventing injuries, and relieve mental burden. Now, the biggest catch of instinctive training is a hard one. It's something you need to be honest with yourself with. So you need to have discipline, you need to be consistent. Some people would take advantage of this freedom, but ultimately I prefer when a client or a person learns and understands why they do something instead of blindly doing the training session simply because it says it on paper. We improve our fitness to improve our health and performance, our bodies, but how are we supposed to do that if we don't get to know our own bodies? The key of becoming, on a long-term scale, a successful, healthy, well-rounded athlete is consistency, lots of variety in training, absolutely strength training, also an aerobic factor. You need to have recovery days and mobility workouts. You need to do a lot of different things. Doesn't mean you need to do it all in one time, all in 1 week. You might be limited on time, and that's okay. Just make sure that you add the variety and you cycle through different things and you challenge your body and mind in a lot of different ways. The process of using instinctive training also allows you to rely less on specific equipment and specific workout routines or drills. The absolute goal is to learn more about your body, what it needs, what it can take, how to push your limits, but also be less dependent on external factors. However, the biggest catch is discipline. People who lack discipline will use it as a crutch. They'll use it to get out of doing certain things. So it's up to you to decide which person you want to be. How disciplined are you? Do you want to achieve your goal? And are you going to be honest with yourself? If you allow yourself to use instinctive training and hybrid training, don't use it as a crutch or a handicap. Now this is important. My personal rule is I will allow myself to find joy and fulfillment in my training, allow myself to use flexibility, allow myself to adjust when needed. However, also my rule is, and when I work out, when I train, I actually train. I go hard, I challenge my body while listening to my body, but I will continue to push as much as I can. As I mentioned before, instinctive training, hybrid training does not mean that we abandon all training methodology. It simply means that we take an approach to it from a grander long-term scale while pinpointing which rules and habits really matter. We need to stop beating ourselves up with stupid rules or things that we saw on Instagram or little things that we read in an unproven article on the internet. And we need to focus on what's really important. So right now my training program consists of 6 days a week, 1 day a week I rest. I do 3 running workouts, sometimes I'll go to a 4th. Ideally I'd like to switch out 1 running workout for a cycling one, but because I'm training for my ultra right now, I have to stick to running unless I just need an active recovery or something. 3 days a week I lift on average. Sometimes it's 4 if I get lucky, but basically 3. It's basically 3 and 3 with some variation. Ideally, my ideal training program would be 3 strength training sessions a week, 1 high intensity session, and then 2 days of endurance training. So over the next 3 months, the obvious goal is to build up distance in my runs, and being able to do that while still recovering well, while not overtraining or getting injured. Some weeks I'll load, I'll have a higher volume, higher intensity. Other weeks I'll unload, I'll taper. So all that training methodology, the physiology comes into play. However, with my schedule being what it is, it's not easy to adhere to a strict program, which is why I take it week to week and then even day to day, with the grander scale in mind, knowing what my goal is, what I need to do, but to give myself the flexibility to get there. As a hybrid athlete, I do find that your base fitness level is at such a great point that compared to a person who starts from scratch, you're already over halfway there or well over halfway there. So your specific training time to work towards a goal, for example my marathon or half Ironman, now my ultra marathon, can be significantly lower than a non-hybrid athlete, a specific athlete, and for a specialized sport, or a non-athlete obviously. As a hybrid athlete, compared to the average person, you have much higher aerobic capacity, but you also have much higher than average strength. As you have that additional strength, you can use less of your capacity of your strength in order to maintain a certain level of activity. For example, when you go for a jog, if you have some more strength, some more mass functional strength, you can use less of that capacity compared to someone who doesn't have that. So basically your percentage of your ability, you will have to use less of that, which makes you endure longer. Now when I talk about strength and function of aerobic activities, I work a lot of different ranges of strength. Sometimes I'll go for power, other times I'll go higher rep. So you want to really work a wide range of reps. If you only do powerlifting and then you attempt a long activity, a long endurance activity, it's going to be a shock for your muscles for sure. It's going to be challenging unless you really specifically train on that. But as a hybrid athlete, if you train lots of different rep ranges, sometimes you do 5, sometimes you go 18, in different settings, in different forms of training, you can do strength training with dumbbells or with suspension trainer, and then you can do a high intensity interval or resistance training. It's a very different feel. It's a very different way of training, really the same muscle but in a different setting and different rep ranges. So as a hybrid athlete, if that's something you do, that will greatly benefit you. So when I was younger, as an endurance athlete, there was this concept where you had to do a minimum 15 to 20 reps per set when you did strength training in the winter, off season only, and only for a certain amount of time. That's complete nonsense. Many athletes, including endurance athletes, will greatly benefit from doing different rep ranges and really adding that strength training factor. If you look at, for example, triathletes, they're already more well-rounded athletes. And they have a fairly good build. Also, other endurance athletes such as runners and cyclists, they will greatly benefit from doing fewer reps as well. You will not bulk up that easily at all, especially in combination with your endurance training. All those hours a week you're running, you're cycling, you are not going to bulk up. Bulking up is not that easy to do. It's a lifestyle. So as an endurance runner, adding strength training is absolutely crucial for so many reasons, and don't let anyone scare you or tell you you have to do a minimum of 15 to 20 reps per set. Absolutely not true. Give it a shot.